Hi, my name is Cosimo Linstadt. I'm a retail sales and hospitality lead here at the Bello Tasting Room, and I'm joined with David Gates, our Senior VP of Vineyard Operations, and we'll be unboxing the spring ATP shipment. ATP is the first winery wine club in the state of California, and next year we're actually going to be celebrating our 50th anniversary, which is pretty exciting. It consists of all of our small production wines that are available at the winery only, so these wines aren't going to find their way into distribution. You're not going to find them at your local wine shop, so really exclusive for members.
ATP stands for Advanced Tasting Program. So transport yourselves back like 50 years ago when Ridge was a teeny tiny spot on Montebello Ridge making a small amount of wine. They decided that they had a loyal group of followers in the Bay Area, which we still do today. And they came up with this idea of having an advanced tasting program because they wanted to get their wines out to their loyal followers before they would release it to the general public.
We have our 2023 Planchon Vineyard out of Contra Costa County. We have our 2023 Frediani Ranch Vineyard out of Calistoga. Our 2023 Stone Ranch Zinfandel out of Alexander Valley. And our 2023 Mancini Ranch out of the Russian River Valley.
The great thing about the ATP wines are that they're single vineyards from throughout California, many of which we've been working with a long time, and some of them, as you see, are fairly new to us. In this lineup, the Mancini Ranch from Russian River is the optional. So what you'll end up getting are the first three, and then if you want the Mancini, you can order that optionally. Excellent. 2023 Planchon, Contra Costa County. It's mostly Zin. It has a little bit of Barbera in it.
And a little bit of Merlot. I think this one has 1% Merlot, which is a little bit of an oddity for kind of an old vine field blend.
Yeah, so the whole vineyard is a bit of an oddity, being surrounded by houses. Earlier it was all kind of agricultural land in that whole area around Oakley. But lately, it's just been a housing boom, I'd say, for the last 20, 25 years. The Planchon Vineyard is now surrounded by homes.
So Contra Costa County is typically the first region that we bring in fruit every single year. It's a little bit of a warmer microclimate there. It does get moderated, though, by the proximity of the Delta. This one is a little bit farther inland, so it is going to be a little bit of a warmer climate over there.
Yeah, what I love about Contra Costa County and Oakley in particular is the sandy soils. So it's all blown sand, basically sand from that's eroded from the Sierras, brought down to the Central Valley by the rivers, and then blown in by wind. And it's as the closer you get to the Sacramento and San Joaquin River, the more pure the sand is, and it's deep too. So these vines are non-irrigated, deep-rooted, and they thrive. And we're fortunate enough to work with the Gonçalves family, who have been farming in the area, like many of these Portuguese families, since the for 3, 4, 5 generations. And it's great to work with them. They know everybody, and everybody knows them, and they are really good farmers. What do you think of the wine?
Really beautiful, a little bit darker fruit, really nice spice as well coming through from the Zinfandel.
Yeah, that's what I'm struck with. I would expect a little brighter fruit on the nose, but it's got this really nice core of almost like black cherry to it, or blackberry, definitely. And this is a vineyard that came to us via Shauna Rosenblum, our winemaker up at Lytton Springs, and her father made this wine for years and years, in the old Rosenblum winery. And we're fortunate enough to get it in 2023.
So a little bit of a full circle moment, because Shauna had the pleasure to work with her dad with this vineyard, and now she's working with the vineyard at Ridge. This is the 2023 Frediani Ranch up in Calistoga, California. Ridge has had the privilege to work with this vineyard ever since 2018. And what I really love about the vineyard is it's kind of home to these once common but now forgotten grape varieties in the Napa Valley. Nowadays in Napa Valley, it's mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, but if you were to get some table wine from the Napa Valley in the 70s, that wasn't the case. You'd find these really unique grapes like Valdegui, Napa Gamay, and also Charbonneau.
The Fredianis have been farming multiple generations just south of the town of Calistoga for years and years. And it's so great that they've resisted the urge to plant Cabernet. They've kind of hung their hat on Charbonneau, and the Fredianis have the biggest planting of that in Napa. The Fredianis also have a nice bit of Petit Syrah that adds to the backbone of this wine. And the Valdegui, which is known as Napa Gamay, used to be ubiquitous in the valley. And this blend of those three varieties was what you would typically find in a wine from Napa in the 40s, 50s, and probably before Prohibition as well. There are a few people that were doing Cabernet, but most of them were making wines like this.
Yeah, so this is actually the second year that we've blended all three grapes from this vineyard. In the past, we used to do a single varietal Charbonneau for about 2 years, and every single year we also do 100% Valdegui, which is a delicious summer wine. But for the past 2 years, we've kind of decided to blend these three grapes from the vineyard together as kind of a homage to the old wines that you would see in the Napa Valley, and very tasty.
Yeah, and I like that, 2023 was a cool year, a very cool growing season. And this wine shows that in the brightness of the fruit and the brightness of the acidity on the finish. I wouldn't call it a light wine at all.
Oh, no.
but it's got this beautiful finish that keeps it fresh on the palate. And I think that is a really neat blend between the Charbonneau and the Valdegui. The Valdegui is this secret sauce that keeps the wine light.
Yeah, gives it a little bit of freshness, adds some acid.
Mm-hmm. So this is the 2023 Stone Ranch. It's a Zinfandel from Alexander Valley right next to our Geyserville Vineyard.
Yeah, Ridge made a few vintages from this vineyard in the early 2000s, and we just started working with them again back in 2019. So really excited to continue to work with this beautiful property.
It's the same soil that we have at Geyserville. It's this gravelly loam that runs off the Russian River. It's absolutely perfect for Zinfandel.
I think this one does have a little bit of Petit Syrah in it, which comes from the east side of 101 there on kind of the hillside there.
That soil is a little more similar to our East Bench soil, so where we source our Petit Syrah from Lytton Springs. So it's a little more clay. It's in the hills is clay, and then on the flats it's all alluvial from the rivers. And the Furlong family has been farming it for a couple generations. It's kind of a theme that you see running through these old vineyards that Ridge has been fortunate enough to find and buy grapes from. And they do a great job. So this has serious fruit on it.
Yeah, no, really beautiful fruit, but definitely get that tannin tension from the Petit Syrah, which is blended in. Definitely a candidate for the cellar. I mean, very tasty right now, but this is one, if you lay it down, it is going to reward patience. I mean, I could see it going easily 10 years.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of alcohol to it. It's on the high side for our Zinfandels. I think it's 14.8. 2023 being that cooler vintage with a lot of rain, I think it's restrained in its opulence, and it can take that, and with the tannins behind it, I think it will age really beautifully. And if you want to drink it right away, I would shake it up, aerate it, do this a lot, and definitely open a glass as you're starting your meal, and that way you can let it open up.
So this is the 2023 Mancini Ranch. This is one of the optional wines in your ATP 6-bottle shipment. Or if you're in the ATP 4-bottle club, this is going to be one of the wines that you get. Ridge has been making wine from this vineyard ever since 2017. It's in the Russian River Valley, and it's a beautiful field blend of carignane, Zinfandel, a little bit of Alicante Bouschet, and kind of a piece of history in the Russian River Valley. Nowadays, people kind of equate the Russian River Valley with Pinot Noir. Historically in California, that wasn't the case. If you were to buy wine from the Russian River Valley, it would be a field blend of these grape varieties. So now kind of going extinct now that Pinot Noir's kind of caught on in popularity.
And the Piner Olivet area, and that's like an epicenter of these varieties. And in fact, the Reichswags purchased Mancini Ranch back in, I think, 2012. It was ready to be planted to Pinot Noir, but the Reichswags already had their Pinot Noir vineyard at Twin Hills in Sebastopol, so they wanted to resurrect these old vines and started interplanting, and Max has done a beautiful job of bringing back that vineyard. And thank goodness it did, because it makes a much more interesting wine.
So you guys might recognize a few of the grapes here on the label, specifically Carignane. You're going to find Carignane in a lot of the Zinfandel blends that we do here at Ridge. What makes Mancini Ranch kind of unique is it's one of the few wines that we do where Carignane's going to be the principal grape variety. And this one's around like 67%, I believe, Carignane, and it is intermixed with a little bit of Zinfandel. So a little bit of the opposite blend compared to some of our other Ridge bottlings that we do.
Exactly. I mean, almost all of our other vineyards that we make wines from are Zinfandel with those complementary varieties. Carignane is kind of an unsung grape variety that is, I think it's number 3 in the world as far as planted black grape varieties. It does so well in blends that you very rarely see it on its own. And for whatever reason, back in the 1920s, when this vineyard was planted by the Mancini family, they planted on the north end a bunch of what we would consider more Dry Creek or Alexander Valley varieties in with their Zin. They planted Alicante Boucher and Carignane, which in Russian River, that was like, what were they thinking? But we love it. Again, it brings that acidity and freshness, and this is always such an intense wine, but always, again, I would say light on its feet. Beautiful tannins.
Tends to be one of the more approachable wines in our lineup as well. So if you're kind of debating which bottle to open, which one to cellar, this one always tastes delicious upon release. Love this wine with like wood-fired pizza. Pretty much anything with a red sauce that can kind of stand up to the acidity that the Carignane and the cool climate brings to the wine. And now for the hardest question. Which one do we open? Which one do we save?
So I'll put my sales cap on. I'd say you open all of them and then buy the ones that you really like and lay them down. But that's, I think they're almost interchangeable. And that's the beauty of ATP, is that we kind of release the wines when we think that they are ready to drink. That being said, I think that these last two, the Frediani and the Stone Ranch, they could go for a few more years if you'd like.
Yeah, lots of structure on them. Mancini Ranch, on the other hand, a little bit lighter on its feet from that cooler climate and the higher Carignane inclusion. So that one drinks beautifully right off the gate.
And the Planchon, I'd say as well, that's a wine that would hold up to any kind of grilled food. I would say salmon, but then I love salmon. But any of our Zins would do that, and this is right in that style.
ATP is like a travel ticket. It kind of gives you the chance to travel to all these unique vineyards throughout the state of California. I mean, in this lineup alone, we have Russian River Valley, Contra Costa County, Northern Napa Valley in Calistoga, and then Alexander Valley.
I think that's kind of the beauty of ATP for me, is that you get to experience a broad range of vineyards and also different wines, different varieties. And I also have to say, we'll have members come up and say they're ATP members and they've been, members for X amount of years. And I just have to thank every one of you, because you're the people that have kept Ridge in business, and we couldn't be here without you. Thank you very much for enjoying our wines. It's really great that you are with us on this journey.
Thank you guys for watching our spring ATP video. If you'd like, on YouTube, we have individual videos for each and every one of these wines, and we look forward to sharing them with you soon. You can visit us at any of our tasting rooms, Montebello, Lytton Springs, and now Paso Robles, newest one to the crew.